I want to start before we get into announcements with sad news that we got out today. So one of our longtime members, he has since moved, John Burroughs died this weekend. We don't know what happened or anything like that, but he was living in Wisconsin. There was his mom who moved there a couple of years ago. He was coming back every now and at least every summer. He was he was the founder of Bearwood, Provincetown. He touched a lot of lives, both in our community and the LGBT community, internationally. And we will miss him. Are there any announcements this morning? Julie?
As promised, I brought 10 bags of candy. I think that's my only announcement. Maybe, we'll see.
Eric?
Hello. First, I'd like to thank everybody for helping out with the plans earlier today. It was a great event. A lot of community people had come in, and they said they're glad to be back in person. It was a big help. We still, I'm trying to figure out totals. It's around 2,500. We're trying to figure out expenses, and we're hoping to sell some more as well, as we've got some in the back there. So if you know of anybody who missed out, send them our way, and continue selling throughout the week and maybe next weekend as well. So again, thank you everybody to help. We are still doing the greenhouse raffle. We're going to draw that today, so you want to get your tickets in before we draw that today. And also the Sleeping Beauty raffle will be next week, so if you want to get the tickets in for that, and the money raised from that will go to the class repair. See me afterwards if you want any tickets or anything.
Aya reminded me of an important announcement. Today is our annual meeting, so please stay so we can vote on stuff.
And if you're not a member, but you would like to join, you still can. We ask that you consider when you join to please be mindful of attending, especially annual meetings, so we can make sure we meet our quorum. Any other announcements? All right, then I will turn things over to our best friend from UU Weymouth, Barbara.
Welcome, student. Thank you. Could I have an order service? Thanks. Thanks. Good morning.
Morning.
Welcome to the Champion Church. I like being introduced as a good friend. I always feel that way. I know that your plant sale were productive yesterday. Your theater that meets here usually has had an art church all week, and they did 2 productions yesterday. And I went to the 3 o'clock show. It was raining, but not probably as hard as it was raining the 7 o'clock show. I mentioned to someone that I'd gone to see the show, and they looked at me and said, "Did you go to Taylor Swift?" And I said, "No, I didn't. I went to the reading production." And they're awful cute. They did a nice job. And Michael Quigg, who runs that, as you know, said that he thought it was the first time they'd sold out. So I think about maybe 55 or 60 people at the 3 o'clock show, and he was hoping they had a similar amount at that. So whether that happened or not, I don't know.
It didn't, but there were a lot of people there.
There were a lot of people.
Yeah, not that many, but not that many, but there was.
So like 65 people, I don't know, I think they'd set up for 50. And I heard them keep opening up more chairs, so that was.
It's good.
We have the lighting of our chalice now. Would you like to do that, Rick?
The words, the order of service are different from our normal ones.
So please read along and imagine that they are in honor of memorials, sacrifices that have been made. As Rick lights the chalice, would you join me in saying these words together?
In honor of those we have known and loved in the past, in recognition of the gifts and sacrifices they have made on our behalf, and in our sincere hopes that we may be worthy of their. We light our candles, we give our thanks, and we offer our prayers.
Would you join with me also in saying our affirmation?
Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is sacrament, and service is Christ. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity and fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
If you'd like, you may remain standing as you are able to join us in hymn number 1. And it's all excited to play this solution that has been flat and here. She wanted us to let her know if she went too far. I hope she knows it is no too far to go with some hymns, and particularly this one. It's number 131, Love Will Guide Us. Please be seated. It's time now in service for us to turn to one another and hopefully share, at least in touch, the love that we all have for one another. So please look to your neighbor, at least say hello, wave to them, say how you doing. Yeah, say hi.
Yep.
Hugs are probably the best day.
I mean, how can I love it.
Hello, my friend. How are you this morning? We all dried out, huh?
It's like Woodstock.
Being played off.
We have a prosecutors and staff. Skills, Nat and Young song guy. Boy, that was kind of nice. I think that shows how starved we have all been for any kind of thing. But I don't know about you, during COVID, not being able to touch people is very, very hard. And especially when I go to visit my granddaughters. And we'll be giving, oh, Vicky was waved to them. And boy, it's so nice to be able to be with people, physically be. Now is the time for sharing of our joys and concerns. If you have a joy, we invite you to stand up and speak it. Rick will very happily light a candle for you. And if you have a concern, please feel free to stand and speak of it. I do believe that by sharing our joys, we increase them 1,000-fold. And I'm also sure that by sharing a concern, we are able to lessen that concern, both in its harshness and in its length. So if anyone would like to share something, now would be your time to do so.
Both the joy and a concern. I went through a beautiful experience of rebirth and ending 2 days ago in a way that's hard to describe, and I'm just feeling I'm starting a new life in a way. And it's still me, and I'm ready for opening and it's also a little bit scary.
That's okay. Scary is okay sometimes.
And also joyful.
And also, thank you for sharing.
One for John and one for Chris.
We got one for John.
Thank you.
One for Jean.
I offer one for Joy. My daughter Carrie is running as we speak in a half marathon, and this is her 9th. She'll turn 40 in September, which I remember when I turned 50. My mother said that's not possible because I won't do it. Turned her. So my little girl is running in a half marathon today, and she's hoping to get one more under her belt before her. So good luck to you. Thank you.
A candle of concern for those who are struggling and die as a result of Parkinson's, my grandma, my friends, my best friend since childhood, my sister of hearts, mom, dad, Dallas, and my uncle Steve. May they find a way to make their lives easier soon.
I hope so. It's a very nice.
Which brings up the Norcas family, so I'd like to light a candle for Paul, Carolyn, Billy, and the girls.
I'd like to light a candle for yesterday, for everybody that came out and helped with, I know Erin already said that, but everybody that helped was a big undertaking, and it was a rainy day. Some of the others.
Yeah, it looks bone chilling out there, so the skeleton.
Funny guy.
Light a candle for Jack, whose performance of Frozen Junior is on Friday.
has one in the morning for the school and then one in the evening for parents. And he said he's a little nervous that he's gonna forget his lines over blocking.
I hope he does.
I'm sure.
I'm sure. Again, scary is okay.
So I'm gonna like to selfishly for myself, joy and concern. Me and Ray to go back to the conference I've been to since before COVID for my profession. But it's like twofold concern because had to go cheaply to apply spirit. And I'm going to Florida. Not my choice, but then.
Florida probably is nice weather, right? Although
Yeah.
perhaps a bit humid. I will talk about it. Anyone else?
Oh, yeah, one more. Our loom that we've been working on all year, and it was recently up at the Rock on Arts Festival, is going on tour, and it will be at the E.P. Wright Building starting next week, and then in the fall, it'll be at the library.
Awesome.
So thank you to everybody that contributed to it.
Congratulations, that's hard.
I'll wait one more. For all the boys and concerns, open our hearts and may not be ready to share.
Thank you, Vic. Shall we take a few moments to settle into our moves? Settle yourself in. Get cozy. Enjoy the moment, if it's one that has recently inspired you, renewed you. What a lovely thing to feel that you're ready to start new endeavors. I like it. And it is okay to be scared. It's scary to be scared. But sometimes we need to come out of our, oh, so comfortable comforts. I, like you, love it. I would hate change. I would let everyone I know stay alive forever. And let no one to ever be ill. No one should be sick. Yet I know that's not. So let us meet all those people who are experiencing illness, sorrow, depression. Keep them close to our hearts and in our minds. And let us take a few moments to gather our thoughts in, offer a prayer or a moment of meditation, to center ourselves and to find a sense of peace, love, acceptance, definitely of kindness, not only to others, but to ourselves. If we are not loving and kind to ourselves, it is very hard to offer those gifts to others. So take these moments to forgive yourselves, ourselves. We are all people. Sometimes we do stupid things, sometimes even bad things. It's if we repeat those over and over, that's the bad one. But we can learn from those moments. We can take from those moments. And then we can offer our love and our kindness to others. Would you please join with me in singing hymn number 123?
Very short 2 line song for my tradition that relates strongly to what you just said. May I share it? Awesome. Sing it from room. Whoever you are, even though you've broken your vow, 1,000 times, come again.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Would you join with me now as Daddy plays hymn number 123 in your spirit of life, and join in as we sing that song. Now is the time that we offer not just our prayers, our condolences, our love, but also our whole heart. Please share as you are able. Thank you, Dee. Please stand as you are willing and join us in singing our dedication of this.
Move it too quick, nuggets.
When you are ready.
Here's your power.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. And I forgot it's not here, but I think her she folded most of the orders next weeks. She got through about 3/4 of them, and they were all folded backwards, and she looked at them all wrong. And I said, so I said, it's true to the other one. So she spent the next few minutes putting back the right way. When she got through them all, she said, came out pretty well. So that was all thanks to her. I'd like to start my sermon today with what I call a Memorial Day reading. A few days ago, my husband found a reading on Facebook. I'm not on that particular social media source for many reasons. But he turned his laptop toward me on the couch and suggested that I read the post. It was by a young mother with 3 little children. She said that she was concerned about how many politicians seem to be outraged about reproductive rights, but seem completely fine with not exerting any control over gun laws. I read it, and I'd like to share that with you now. She said, how about we treat every young man who wants to buy an assault rifle like we do every woman who wants to get an abortion? Wait a mandatory 48-hour waiting period. Receive parental permission. Provide a note from his doctor proving that he understands what his spouse do. Watch a video about the effects of gun violence on innocent people. Close down every gun shop in every state and make him travel hundreds, maybe thousands of miles. Take time off from work and stay overnight in a strange state with strange people. Make the man walk through a gauntlet of people holding photos of loved ones who were innocent victims, who were shot to death or maimed for life, as the throng calls him a murderer and begs him not to buy a gun as he finally enters a gun shop. Not allow him to ever obtain an assault weapon under any circumstances. Doesn't it make more sense to do this with young men and guns? No woman in need of an abortion has ever killed a room full of innocent children or shoppers in just seconds. As Angela Jones, PhD and licensed psychiatrist, stated last year, imagine the people fought as hard to protect Black lives in supermarkets, students and teachers at schools, worshipers at mosques, temples, and churches, and shoppers at a mall, as they do embryos in bodies that do not belong to them. Now, Memorial Day is not here until next week, Monday, May 29, 2023. But I have seen the preparations for it already. Car dealerships are offering special deals. Grocery stores are advertising barbecue here, including hot dogs, burgers. And I even saw an ad the other day for a mosquito prevention Memorial Day special. I have no idea what mosquitoes have to do with Memorial Day, except that obviously they may be out. But this was a special they were on. Officially, Memorial Day is a day to honor our fallen, our heroes, our soldiers who have sacrificed so much. Unofficially, it is the gateway to summer. Memorial Day originated during our Civil War over 150 years ago when citizens placed flowers on the graves of those servicemen who had been killed in battle. Many towns claim ownership of the birthplace of what was then called Decoration Day. Any of you remember that being called Decoration Day? I vaguely do. Including Boalsburg, Pennsylvania, which first commemorated the day in October of 1864. And again the next year in July of 1865 when they returned to the grave sites with more fanfare and floral tributes. In Charleston, South Carolina, a group of African Americans observed the day in May 1865, and in 1866, in Columbus, Mississippi. A formal observance was held for both Union and Confederate dead. Officially, Waterloo, New York was named the birthplace by congressional proclamation in 1966, citing the first observance in 1866. After World War I, the day became one to commemorate those who had died in all U.S. wars, not just some. And since 1971, Memorial Day, as it came to be known, has been observed on the last Monday of May. In Arlington, Virginia, the day is observed by placing a tribute on the tomb of the unknown soldier, often placed by the President of the United States. Unofficially, as I mentioned, Memorial Day has come to signal the beginning of summer. Families pile into cars, onto planes and buses and trains, determined to commence the festivity associated with the warmest season. Last Thursday, reporters were predicting huge traffic types for next Friday and Saturday and Sunday and Monday to Cape and New Hampshire and all the way to Connecticut, Maine, and Vermont, and even up to Maggie's newest best place, the Berkshires. Return trips on Sunday and Monday will be no less long and arduous. Despite the still relatively high price of gas, as well as fees for vacation rentals, people are on the move and ready to party. It looks like good weather is predicted for the rest of this week and probably into next weekend. So cookouts will abound in beaches and backyards will probably be. If you were like me, however, perhaps you were looking for something a bit more traditional. That is not to say that I do not plan to consume at least one very grilled hot dog, maybe an ear of corn, or to gather with some friends and family on either my deck or theirs, my porch or theirs. I do. I also cannot help but think of all the families for whom Memorial Day symbolizes more than a summer gateway together. All of those who have lost a loved one to active combat or the lingering effects of combat long past. My sister-in-law, a combat veteran of Vietnam, and now just shy of 80, for years spoke little about his 2 tours in service. A few years ago, my sister-in-law mentioned to me that only now does he occasionally refer to those days when he, at only 23, commanded men some as young as 18 or 19 to battle against other men just as young as them. She said that as her husband grew older, he began to allow himself to think back on what he had done and how he and his men had done it. She referred to occasions when he would awake from sound sleep, kicking and screaming, slick with sweat, terror in his eyes, only to have absolutely no recollection of the awoken moment of doing anything. She said that until that time, he never ever wanted to speak about what he had experienced. But recently he had begun to share some of the trauma with her. She said that occasionally he talks now very briefly and very, very calmly about what he saw and what he felt and what he could not allow himself to feel then. I know that he was wounded physically several times, although he's never discussed that. About 10 years ago, when we got out to eat with him, I noticed on his bumper a sticker that said Purple Heart. Over our meal that evening, I asked my brother-in-law about it, noting that he had never mentioned that it had been awarded to him. His response was considered and succinct. It was just something that they gave me. I really didn't dispute. I remember the first time that I saw Saving Private. My husband and I went to the cinema in Random to watch it on the big screen. For the first half hour, I sat transfixed, aghast at what I was watching, amazed at the bravery of the young men I watched landing on the beaches in France, thinking the entire time that I do not think I could have done that. Many years later, when I watch that film again, I am no less overwhelmed and immersed. How do soldiers place themselves in such peril, knowing full well that any moment their lives might be taken? I am in awe of their bravery and their sacrifice. I believe that American soldiers persist in going to war to defend this country because they believe in what we say we stand for. While they may not always support the cause for which they have been deployed, they do support the idea that they owe it to their country to fight for the ideals upon which it was founded. Ideals of duty, sacrifice, and liberty, and justice. Ideals of freedom and equality, and equity and peace. Ideals of safety and love. This Memorial Day, I stand conflicted about my country. On one hand, I admire that we are in support of Ukraine, assisting them to resist Putin and his tyrannical advances. We are sending billions and billions of dollars to aid Ukrainians in the fight against brutality and injustice, just as we should be doing. We stand outraged as we witness the overtaking of these innocent people, as mass graves are uncovered, these towns, villages, cities are turned to rubble. How, we ask ourselves, could such atrocities occur in a sane world? Where, however, is our outrage when it comes to gun violence in this country? Just a little over a year ago in Buffalo, New York, several Black patrons at a grocery store were hunted and slaughtered by a self-made white supremacist simply because they were uncovered that he did not love. And just a week later, 19 young children and 2 teachers were annihilated by deranged, angry, and probably mentally ill young men who decided that it was his right to buy weapons designed originally to inflict death upon military folks and to turn that weapon innocent second, third, and fourth graders at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. How can this be happening in this country? Where are the laws to protect us? Who is using them? How can thinking and rational human beings consider this acceptable issue? A friend's daughter, mother of 2 children, a boy and a girl, one 12 and one just 10 the other day, wrote on her blog the other night, "It's not unimaginable," she wrote. "I have imagined it every single time I walk into a parent-teacher conference in my kids' classrooms and instinctually ask, which are their days? It's my first question. And then I silently assess, is it close to the door? Not good. And then the direct line of surprise fire. Is it close to the window? Better. So that my children can jump up if needed. Is it near a closet alcove? Okay. In which they could potentially hide or make a break for it if and when they're able. I've already imagined it minutes prior as I walked down the hallway, she said, and internally analyzed the pros and cons of their classroom location. Last one in the hallway, close to an exit. I've decided quick escape, but also easy access. On the second floor, opposite floor. Harder to get to, but harder to get out. I'm quietly thinking every time I have to bust in through the thick sealed entrance windows. And again, when I hear the click of the automatic locks close the entrance behind. I can't let my mind wander to hoping that those heavy doors and locks will never be needed, but that if they ever are, then they will be enough to keep danger out. It's sick, she said. It's sick to wonder if the brightly decorated building, filled with crayon drawings and inspirational bulletin boards, will be a place of joy and learning for your child or the last voice that they may understand. But I and so many other parents, she finished, have imagined this to Columbine, since Sandy Hook, since Parkland, and since Uvalde. In 2022, as of the Uvalde shooting, there had occurred that year 212 mass shootings. Gun violence is a public health crisis, not a political debate. 27 years ago, a gunman entered the Dublin primary school in Scotland, killing 16 kids and a teacher. The United Kingdom's government responded immediately by enacting tighter gun control legislation. In the 9,765 days since, there have been a total of 0 school shootings in the UK. When will we get it? When will enough be enough? Where is our backbone, as President Biden has to get beyond? Why cannot we stand up to the NRA and Ted Cruz and others like him? Why is the unimaginable so imaginable? When does this madness end? We are a good country. I feel that, I know that, I believe it. We are a country that is very long dignitaries. We have accomplished much and will continue to do so. I love being an American, and I feel lucky to have been born here. Yet I am in conflict so often now with where we are headed. Senseless rhetoric and misguided leaders seem to turn into cling to outdated and erroneous beliefs about so many things. How many women are valued, how inequality applies to every person, and how and if children have a right to be safe in what should be the safest places for them. We are a country filled with parents, grandparents who love their children and want to see them grow. Those children deserve to be safe in their schools. People deserve to be safe when they shop for groceries or jog down the street. I often wonder when this is happening. On this Memorial Day weekend, let us, as we should, take a moment, maybe several minutes, to honor the sacrifices of our fallen troops and all those who have served so bravely. Let us lay wreaths on the graves, salute and praise them. Let us provide them with mental health and understanding. But let us also take time to remember to honor the sacrifice of our brave school children who lay down their lives to protect our country, to bear. Our closing reading this morning, December 1, 2021. Real build. It is a wall. We will not build a wall. We will. Number 1.
Land wall.
A land wall.
Wall.
Walking. Seawall. Seawall to put. Please stand if you were willing. We both going with this thing. Here, 121. We will be able to. Please join me in saying the following words. We
Extinguish this flame,
but
but not the light of the truth, or the warmth of community, or the fire of faith. These we carry in our hearts, until we are together.
I hope that the coming week is one of joy, happiness, light, and wonder. I hope that the words in that last song become our mantra, and that we can achieve a good and peace. Please take a seat as many. Please take a seat while Maggie introduces.
Mm.